many of us want to be the superhero. We fly in and we save the day. We are in control on the project. We know it all. We want to do it all. If the team doesn't deliver, we roll up the sleeves and we work hard. We want to be that safe pair of hands. Any of you recognize that? Or is it just me? I don't see many hands. That's probably a good thing, okay. Now, superheroes, super project managers are loved by organizations. Why not? They save the day, they get things done. But there are two major issues. And by the way, I'm not raising anything today where I haven't been myself. I recognize myself in all of this. There are two major issues with this superhero mentality. The first one is that it's actually quite disempowering in the long run. In the short term, you get results. It's very alluring. But in the long run, it's the opposite of empowering to the team, because this hero project manager is in the front and saying, we need to do this and we need to do that and you need to do this and have we done this? And it's that constant kind of, just flying ahead of everybody else. So it's very disempowering. It is actually the opposite of good leadership. This is super management, it's not leadership. The second issue is that it's extremely exhausting, and we've just had a session in there on stress management. And it's very close to my own heart because it actually, I have been very, very close to burnout myself. And I coach so many project managers who are either extremely stressed or they're facing burnout or they have had a burnout, and they're never the same afterwards. Their energy levels just never really bounce back properly. And it's just not worth it. There are some personality patterns that are more likely to lead us to overworking ourselves, and perhaps you recognize yourselves in some of these. Wanting to be perfect, wanting to be in control, being a high achiever, wanting to help out, and perhaps also having high levels of anxiety. Now, I recognize myself, at least in the three first ones. There's nothing wrong with wanting to do a good piece of work. There's nothing wrong with wanting to help out. There's nothing wrong with wanting to achieve things, but you have to make sure that it's a conscious choice you have, that you do it because it's the right thing, not that you do it because you feel compelled to. You know, some people feel that they're almost like bad if they don't help out. That's, I think, the wrong motivator. And in particular, I see this a lot. So people are looking to prove themselves to compensate for a lack of self-belief, because all of the patterns that I showed you on the previous page, it's almost like we're trying to compensate for not being enough, for not feeling enough, for not having enough self-love. And so we try to be better, we try to run faster, we try to get that validation. So a lot of it, I think, comes down to strengthening, and you notice where my hand is here, it's in the core of me. A lot of the work that I do when I do one-on-one coaching is to help project managers feel their own worth, listing all your strengths and really feeling them in your body. It's not enough to just think about them, but really feel that you are worthy. You don't have to overwork yourselves to feel worthy. You don't have to feel you always have to pick up the pieces to be enough. You are already perfectly beautiful. And yes, we all want to do more, but you are still worthy and loved if you do a good job. You don't have to go over and above all the time. How many of you recognize yourselves in some of these patterns? Yeah. We are human. We are human, and how do we work with these patterns? What do you think? What do we do? Because it's part of our programming, unfortunately, so it can take a long, long time to unwind it. So working with a therapist or working with a coach can really help. I would say it's money well spent. When I finally, not finally, but I became self-employed in 10.5 years ago. And that was the first time I felt I actually had, I could breathe and I could had time to see a therapist because that was Wednesday at 12 o'clock. Or how could I do that if I was running a project? So that helped me a lot to get in touch with my emotions that I had stuffed away during my professional career and get to the bottom of some of these topics here. Yeah, because it's not worth it for you to burn yourself out. I want to share a story with you. So I was recently I've been coaching a lady who came to me for stress management coaching, and she said to me, "I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely shattered. I don't have the energy. I don't know. I love project management. I would like to find my passion again, but I'm just exhausted." And at this stage, she was only working 4 out of 5 days. So it wasn't the long hours anymore because she was already running on empty. So I asked her, what's the biggest thing that drains you at work? And she said, it's the client. Okay. What happens? And she said, well, the client, we make such a big effort to plan everything and to make agreements and set the scope. And in the last minute, the client will come and they'll change things. It happens all the time and it's so stressful. Either they will change things or they don't deliver what they say they're going to deliver. And it just had taken such a toll on her. And I said, okay, think about one specific situation where this happened. And she said, that's easy, that was last week. I said, good. Go into that situation and tell me how you're feeling about it. And she said, I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I said, good. Where do you feel it in your body? Because all emotions are physical. They sit in your body and they accumulate in your body. And he says, it's in my fist. I want to punch them. I said, good. Where else? Oh, it's in my throat and actually it's also in my heart. I said, okay, go into that feeling and tell me what the color is or texture. I said, it's like red lava, red hot lava. I said, good, stay with that. Go into it. Allow yourself to really feel that. And she did. And after a while she said, oh, now it's changing. Now I feel disappointed. Okay, tell me more. I feel disappointed that I haven't said anything to the client more. I haven't pushed back more. I haven't followed my intuition to really challenge them. I said, okay, where does that sit? Where does that sit? It's like, that's a fog in my head. I said, okay, go into that fog, stay with it. And she did. And after a while, she said, oh, he's changing again. Oh, now I'm becoming really sad. I said, what's that about? Well, I've realized that I've allowed this to affect me. I'm so sad that I've taken all of this on me, and it's drained me, and I feel so sad that I've actually put myself in this situation and just, allowed it to affect me. So this is a typical journey that I take with somebody where we really need to get in and feel it and get in touch with what is really going on. And what happens is quite typical. What you see here is that when you pay attention and you spend time with your emotions, they change. Nothing is permanent. They release and they move into something else because your emotions are there to give you an indication, to give you a message. So you can actually communicate with your emotions and say, what are you trying to tell me? What is your anger trying to tell you? Or the fear, we had a lot of stuff on fear early on. What's the fear trying to tell you? It's trying to protect you. But sometimes we're too busy, or we just find it so uncomfortable. We don't want to be in touch with those emotions. And it's not worth it for you to have that accumulate in your body. So I would recommend all of you perhaps to have a little ritual at the end of each day or at the end of each month, each week, maybe check in with yourselves. How are you really feeling? Not just in your head, but what is happening in your body? communicate with yourself. You can also do something called expressive writing. I mean, there's so many techniques that you can do, but try to process it, try to get it out, and to allow your emotions to speak to you. That way you're going to become much more balanced when you are at work.